Good morning everyone. Welcome to today's training on SOC 2 Type 2 compliance. Today we will cover what SOC 2 Type 2 is, why it matters for our organization, and what we need to do to achieve and maintain this critical certification. This training is essential for everyone involved in our security and compliance efforts. Let's get started. Let me start with what is the basics. SOC 2 Type 2 is an independent audit of our security controls conducted over a period of 6 to 12 months. Unlike a quick point-in-time assessment, Type 2 focuses on the operational effectiveness of our controls, which means we are not just checking the controls that exist on paper, but how they actually work in practice. Think of it in this way. Type 1 is like inspecting a building's blueprint, while Type 2 is like living in the building for a year and confirming it how it works as per the design. During this audit, an independent auditor evaluates how our control perform in the real world of operations, whether our access controls actually prevent unauthorized access, whether our logging captures the right data, and whether our incident response actually work when needed. Why does this matter? Because it builds trust with our clients and stakeholders. When we earn SOC 2 Type 2, we are making the credible commitment to data protection and security. Clients see the certification and know we take the data seriously. Moving on to the next one is Type 1 versus Type 2. Let me clarify the difference between Type 1 and Type 2 since this confusion comes up often. Type 1 is a point-in-time assessment. We bring in auditors, they review our control design, which means they check. Do you have access control? Do you have encryption policies? They validate that controls are properly designed to address security risk. It is faster, usually taking a few weeks, but Type 1 is only proves our control exists and are designed well or not. They do not actually work over time. Type 2 extends this significantly. We observe and test control for 6 to 12 months. During this period, auditors don't ask about controls, they test them repeatedly. They review logs, examine evidence that controls executed as intended, and verify controls effectiveness. This gives much stronger assurance that our security program is real and operational. For most enterprises and regulated industries, Type 2 is now the standard expectation. Clients increasingly require it in their vendor management agreements. Moving on to next one is 5 trust service criteria, that is TSC. SOC 2 is built around 5 core trust service criteria. These are the domains we are audited on. Let me walk through each one. The first one is security. This is about protecting against unauthorized access, both physical and logical. It includes everything from controlling who can enter our data center to managing who has access to systems and data to protecting against cyber attacks. The second one is availability. Our system and service must be available when they are needed, which means having uptime targets, monitoring system for outages, having backup systems, and maintaining disaster recovery capabilities so our clients can rely on us. The third one is processing integrity. The data must be processed completely and accurately. This means transactions are recorded correctly, data is not encrypted, and processing happens as intended. Think of financial transaction or sensitive healthcare records. The accuracy is very critical. The fourth one is confidentiality. Sensitive information must be protected from unauthorized disclosure. This includes encryption, access control, and proper data handling procedure to ensure only authorized people see confidential data. The final one is privacy. This goes beyond confidentiality. It is about how we collect, use, and retain personal information appropriately. We need clear privacy policy, consent mechanisms, and data retention controls. In a Type 2 audit, we will be tested on all 5 of these criteria. Right. So moving on to the next one is implementation timeline. Let me walk you through the typical timeline for a SOC 2 Type 2 engagement. It is not a quick process. Plan for 12 to 18 months total from start to final report. Phase 1 is preparation, which will take 3 to 6 months. This is where we do groundwork. We conduct a gap analysis to identify where our controls falls. We then implement or remediate controls that need improvement. We also select our auditor and define the scope of our audit. This phase is critical. The better prepared we are, the smoother the audit goes. The second one is phase 2, which is observation, which will take 6 to 12 months. This is the formal observation period. Auditor began testing our controls and we start collecting evidence systematically. This evidence includes system logs, access records, training confirmation, and documentation of control execution. The 6 to 12 month window allows auditors to see complete operational cycle and confirm the controls work consistently or not. Next comes phase 3, that is audit, which will take 2 to 4 weeks. At the end of the observation period, auditor conduct the final audit, reviewing all collected evidence, conducting final control testing, and preparing the audit report. If everything goes well, we receive our SOC 2 Type 2 report. Moving on to the next one is audit process. Now let's discuss what happens actually during the audit. Understanding this will help us prepare evidence appropriately. There are pre-audit review. So before formal testing begins, we meet with auditors and document all our existing controls and processes. We provide system documentation, organizational charts, and policy manuals. This helps auditors understand our environment. Next one is control testing. This is the heart of the audit. Auditors use 4 types of testing. Inquiry, they ask us about the controls. Observation, they watch controls in action. Inspection, they examine records and logs. Reperformance, they actually execute control procedure to confirm they work or not. For example, auditor might reperform password reset procedures themselves to verify they work as per the document. The next one is evidence collection. Throughout the observation period, we are collecting the evidence. This includes system logs showing access controls work, training records proving staff completed security training, incident response documentation, and change management records. Good evidence collection here is the essential part. The next one is exception documentation. If any control fail, maybe someone accessed the system without authorization, or we fail to encrypt data, we document this exception, what caused it and how we remediated it. A few exceptions don't fail the audit, but undocumented or unaddressed exception can fail the audit. Next one is final reporting. Auditors compile everything into a comprehensive report. This report is what our clients see and what demonstrates our SOC 2 Type 2 compliance. Moving on to the next one is key control areas. Let me highlight the specific control areas that are most critical in SOC 2 audit. These are where auditors focus their testing. Access management is foundational. We need to implement the principle of least privilege, which means people only get access to what they absolutely need to do their jobs. We should require multi-factor authentication, especially for privileged accounts, and we need to promptly remove access when people leave the organization. Next one is encryption. Encryption protects data in 2 states. Encryption in transit, encryption at rest, that is when data moves across networks and when data sits in the database or files. This is typically required for sensitive data. And the next one is incident response, which means having a documented process for detecting, responding to, and recovering from security incidents. Auditors will want to see incident logs and evidence that you actually followed your process. Change management and configuration control ensure changes to systems are authorized and tested before deployment. This prevents accidental outage or security issues from uncontrolled changes. The next one is monitoring and logging, which means all significant activities are logged. Login attempts, data access, configuration changes, administrative actions. These logs must be monitored for suspicious activity and retained for audit purposes. Each of these controls area will be tested during your Type 2 audit. So moving on to the next one is common challenges and solution. Let me be realistic about challenges we often see. The first challenge is evidence collection. SOC 2 Type 2 requires 6 to 12 months of continuous documentation. Many organizations struggle with this because they don't have a system in place to automatically collect evidence. The solution what recommended is start automatic logging, access reviews, and incident documentation from day one. We need to use tools that create evidence without adding manual burden. The next challenge is control gaps. Almost every organization discover gaps during gap analysis. Controls that should exist but do not work. For example, maybe you don't have multi-factor authentication or incident response procedure are not documented. The solution for this is to start remediation early. Don't wait for the formal audit to address the known gaps. Third challenge is resource intensive. SOC 2 require people, auditor fees, internal staff time for evidence collection, system upgrades, etc. So we need to plan our budget and personal allocation yearly. Challenge 4, ongoing commitment. SOC 2 compliance is not a one-time activity. Once you have your report, you need to maintain controls continuously. Reports expire after certain months, and the clients increasingly expect a continuous monitoring. For this, we need to view SOC 2 as a establishing baseline for our ongoing security program, which is not a destination. Let me wrap up with the 4 critical takeaways. SOC 2 Type 2 demonstrate that our organization has operational security maturity. It's not just theory, it's a proven performance over time. The second one is we are being evaluated on 5 trust service criteria over 6 to 12 months: security, availability, processing integrity, confidentiality, and privacy. So understanding these 5 areas will help us know what to focus on. Third one is evidence-based compliance requires planning and automation. This is not something we can do ad hoc. We need systems and processes to generate evidence automatically. The fourth one is compliance continues beyond certification. SOC 2 is a foundation for our ongoing security program. Once we achieve it, we maintain it, and clients expect continuous improvement beyond the baseline. So this is what we have completed our SOC 2 Type 2 training. Thank you for your attention.